All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming to the meeting in beautiful downtown Livingston County. Man, it was a nice day for a ride south, wasn't it?
Wasn't the sky pretty?
It was.
It's brush fire.
It is. The salt mines in full swing. Making a lot of good money. We're not going to need it this winter, though, because I hear there's not going to be any snow.
Great.
All right. Just a couple of things on the agenda for me, and that is I got an email from Sharon Shimano, who wanted to know if we were interested in participating in Sept this year. It's going to be April 9th, 8th and 9th. I literally got this email Friday, so I would like to present this to Pierre. I just got a text from Donna. She's in triage at Strong, so I don't expect to see her. But I'd like to push this to the peer committee for a recommendation unless somebody has a burning desire to have a long discussion about it. They're the ones that really are, you know, and if they're not in favor of it, I don't think we should push it.
Well, one of the reasons they weren't in favor of it in the past was because of things that happened.
Right.
It actually came from Mlrems to the committee, but Mlrems wasn't in favor. So, maybe what's the discussion again?
I guess I'm reluctant to do that without the peer chair here, since they're the ones that,
sure.
and at least having them talk about it so that they can come back and we can have a discussion. I told Sharon that we would not have an answer today. It's unrealistic. That I get an email on Friday that I would have the answer no later than our November meeting, whether or not we're going to participate. So she's not expecting an answer. Tim?
Is there any request for monetary?
Absolutely.
So she had specifics on what participation meant?
She wanted to know if we were interested in participating and if we were interested in contributing or sponsoring a speaker or doing our awards, et cetera, et cetera. Any objections to me having the peer committee evaluate it?
No, I think that's appropriate.
Great.
All right. In the next few days, I'm going to send an email out to everybody. That email is going to say just that. How am I doing and what can I be doing better? If you could limit your answers to Mlrems, that would be great. I'm doing this because I have an interest in doing the chairmanship again next year, but I want to know your opinions on how I'm doing and if I can be doing anything better. It's not going to be anonymous for the simple reason is if you make a state or a recommendation for me to improve on something, I'm going to check in with you to see if it's working. If it's anonymous, I can't check in with you. I'm asking for the feedback, so I'm asking you to be honest. You know, everybody in this room has known me most everybody has known me for many years. And I wouldn't be asking for it if I didn't want it. I can't improve in this position if I don't get feedback. So answer the email, don't answer the email, it doesn't matter. I would like some feedback, but if you're not inclined to, there's no requirement to. So. Remind you that our January meeting, we moved to the 25th because it always conflicts with the third Monday holiday, which is Martin Luther King Day, which takes some of the folks out of the ability to come because they're off that day. So, all right. Our goal status, we're actually in good shape goal-wise. Mike wasn't able to make the meeting tonight. There is some information in his report, but they're having regular meetings to get all of our documents up on Google Docs and having some sort of standardized format for filing the documents. So when we go look for documents, they're in a format that's easily searchable. Continuity guidelines, again, are underway, and the data dictionary or directory has been worked on and is actually in good shape as well. So, Tom, yes. It's almost like you know what I was going to say.
Perfect timing, huh?
Yeah.
All right, background checks. When are you gonna start doing?
The one thing that, you gonna put that up there? One thing that we need to do is just change our policy. The current vendor that we are gonna use has a one-part form instead of a two-part form. And then our policy, instead of two-part, in the second page would be the social security number. So what we're gonna do is basically have everybody fill out the new form, so everybody's gonna fill the form in. And we'll just get rid of this form once we get the check back. And just keep the check itself in each person's file.
Where are our old forms?
The old forms currently are in the file. So they'll be deleted, and we'll send these in, get the checks, and then once the checks come in, we'll shred these.
So
Is everybody okay with the change there?
I spoke to Mark, and this is the only change we need to make to the policy. This is just the policy, it's not a bylaw, so if you want to push it back to NEG for them to look at it, that's fine. I did speak with Mark. We can vote on it tonight. This is the only change to the policy, which basically is protection of your social security numbers. Everything else stays the same. Mark?
One minor point, I just noticed it, under fourth, seventh position was misspelled, so that
As a matter of course, I'll let Mark review it for grammatical errors. Aside from grammar, that's the only change.
I'll make a motion to accept the change.
Okay. Bill, second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right.
Other than that, I did print a bunch of forms that anybody wants one.
How do you want the effects?
I can send it via email if you would like.
Email?
I'll just
Turn it back in there.
Here you go, Mike. I got some for remake also.
More forms, but it's just pretty different.
That's it?
Anything for Tom?
And we save money by doing a different company also, so.
Perfect.
I'm not sure if anybody got an opportunity to review the minutes. There was a little bit of issue viewing them online. That was fixed as of today. If you have, I'd like to make a motion to pass the minutes as posted on the website. Any additions, discussions, changes?
All those in favor of accepting the minutes from our last meeting?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we got one honest person on the road. All right, passes. Anything else, Tim?
Just small things, working with Mr. Philby on verifying some dates of the REMAC members. We're going to have to do a little bit of archive searching to just check to see if they're right. And as it's going to be alluded to in a couple of other reports, working with Ben and Mindy and Mike on solidifying the processes for Google Docs and distribution lists and formatting and things like that. And hopefully we'll have more by next week.
All right. Anybody have anything for Tim? As I mentioned, Mike isn't able to make the meeting. This is his report. There was a problem going back, Jesus, it's got to be almost 12 months ago, with a discrepancy in one of the filings with the state. So we figured it out, Mike figured it out, along with the U of R bookkeeper, and got that squared away. So that's all set. And talked to you about talking with Tim, which I believe Tim Anything for me to take back to Mike?
My apologies that some of these things may end up, I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder, both Dr. Murray or Ben, but I forget things. So a lot of different things going on. As you've followed from my communications, the REMAC will be just briefly discussing the spinal motion restriction rollout. As you know, that is a state program for which we have no regional control over. I've disseminated information to all of our local EDs. The feedback that I've gotten from them is, thank goodness, this is great. So they seem to, at least at that level, be very excited about receiving patients that are not on backboards. But the devil's in the details, and so hopefully we will be going live on January 1, following the REMAC meeting today. I'll issue a regional advisory. Keep coughing, keep coughing. Annie, are you okay? And you can still backboard people, Mark. It's okay. So that will be obviously something that we'll be watching closely. As we've mentioned before, the syringe epinephrine kit project that has been slowed a little bit due to some procurement issues, but we are still on track to move forward with that. I have state approval. They've reviewed all of our educational materials, had just a few comments, but are otherwise ready to go with that. So as soon as our supply chain finishes out, that will hopefully be going live, which will be huge. There is a great program going on. We have some posters back over there. Thank you. Regarding the kind of collaborative stroke initiative. So this is something that Ben and Mike from my office have done. As you all are aware, stroke centers in New York are required under their accreditation guidelines to be able to provide CME to EMS agencies, which is why you get various different programs offered by various different institutions with generally really poor attendance. And we've been able to get all of our systems, so Rochester Regional Health, UR Medicine, and Noise Health, all on the same page. And our first kickoff program is Wednesday, October 14th, from 7 p.m. Until about 8:30 or 9-ish at the PSTF on Scottsville Road, where there'll be a panel talking about a lot of different factors that affect EMS. So I'm hopeful that this will be a great way to, number one, provide CME. That CME will come out of my office, as well as provide some applicable and relevant stroke information from really everybody being on the same page. So my thanks to Mike and Ben and the many others that are participating in that. That again is coming up. Another thing in terms of unique opportunity, and Ben will be sending this out as we get a little bit closer, is on October 22nd at 10 a.m. at the University of Rochester is a grand round speaker. Jerry Hoffman is coming from his home out in California. Jerry Hoffman is really an icon in emergency medicine in a lot of different ways. He has no problem speaking his mind, which has been fabulous. He's an extraordinarily accomplished researcher, and he is going to be talking on overdiagnosis, a worsening epidemic as part of the University of Rochester Grand Round. So this will also be open to the EMS community. Again, we'll provide some more information for it. We'll again be able to provide CME, but I just wanted to kind of put it in there as a hold the date. He's really just a very, very unique speaker, and like I said, kind of an icon in emergency medicine. One other project that we've been working on, and I would love either Mlrems or additional REMAC participation in, is through the RTAC we identified some opportunities to improve handoffs between EMS and receiving hospitals, and really trying to make that an all hazards approach, if you will, to handoffs. That it shouldn't just be one specific trauma handoff and a different STEMI handoff and a different stroke handoff. We should have one common way to do that. And our hospital partners are very interested in this as well. So we've started having monthly meetings to look through some of these issues, identify what some opportunities for improvement are in terms of how we can facilitate those handoffs and come up with a common system that we can both train our people on, work with our hospital systems to implement so that there's standard reception of that information, and then also integrate at the educational level. So when Aaron's doing an EMT class, we can offer a short module on this is really what your radio report should sound like and what your bedside or triage handoff should sound like. So again, if people are interested in that, contact Ben or I, and we'll make sure that you're on that group. We just started working, but I think it's a great opportunity for an area that I think we all know from experience is not done very well at all, and lots of really important critical patient information gets dropped and missed through all of that. So that, I think, is it for me, unless anybody has questions.
One question. Have you guys given consideration to the northern adjacent counties for the stroke collection? Because I'm thinking Orleans, Genesee, Ontario, a lot of those patients end up in those facilities.
Typically, when I send out anything like this from the office, I include my program agency colleagues from all the surrounding regions so that they get the opportunity to come to this.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremy, I'm assuming you misspoke. You said January 1 for the go live of the spinal rollout.
I definitely misspoke. Yes. October 1, as everybody knows, and again, this is state enforcement, not regional enforcement. That those that are not trained, according to the guidance from the state, should not be allowed to practice beyond October 31st. That's between you as an agency leader, your agency medical director, and the state. As we have no idea who has attended the training and who hasn't. So that's really at the agency level. And yes, the go live is October 1st. So we'll have about a month period. One of the reasons that I wanted to hold on it was just to make sure that we had a critical mass of providers trained, as well as a critical mass of receiving hospitals aware, rather than shooting it too quick. So we got that kind of month period that there might be a little bit of confusion, but certainly by November 1, everybody that's on the street should be knowing what's going on.
Anything else for the doctor?
Just one quick question, on the enforcement side, are they gonna be is state training gonna notify Mlrems or the provider or the agencies they work with that the providers?
Well, given that the state has not really notified us much of this training to begin with, I highly doubt that they will be notifying us of providers that are delinquent with that.
We'll have no way to know,
So, yeah.
quite honestly.
Okay.
60,000 providers across the state, now we're not keeping tabs on every level.
Has the state solicited any feedback on their training? Have you heard of any?
No,
Asked for any?
they certainly have not asked for any. I'm pretty confident that they've received a lot. But no, they have not taken any formal process to get feedback on this project.
Actually,
Sorry.
Dr. Cushman is correct. We received a number, a lot, I believe, speaking for my colleagues at home, which is what generated the 2 FAQ letters that came out responding to some of that. Yeah. So there's been plenty of feedback. Most of it good.
I mean, I think to the state's credit, and even a lot of the EMS directors across the state, I think we all appreciate having a common educational platform with which to roll out this information, given that it affects every region. It makes zero sense to do it on a regional level. I think a lot of the docs, and again, I'll speak personally for me, was just disappointed in the level of communication to the program agencies. Recommending that, okay, it's all to be evaluated by CICs or CLIs, and to go to your region for that when we have no control at the regional level of our CICs or CLIs, or really they haven't been provided any information as to what they should be looking for in this rollout. So there's lots of things like that I think has been shared. But no doubt when you're doing something that's this significant and affects every agency and every provider across the state, having one message is really important. And hopefully they've learned from some of the challenges from this rollout, so that if they do it again, that we can address some of those gaps.
So the bright side is they rolled it out.
The bright side is that they have rolled it out, yes.
Gotta look at the positive. Any other?
So Jeremy covered just about everything else. Just over a year ago, this body approved, and REMAC approved the ALS credentialing process changes, but we didn't have the infrastructure to support the changes. So the website has been modified. We've purchased the ability to do some online forms, and at ALS committee, hopefully we can do a little bit more testing, and we're ready to go live with the new form. I did meet with the ALS chiefs from Metro and Monroe, because it would be the most substantial burden to use this process. We want to use this process to update what we know are horrible records. And all of them were good with an annual, they were good with doing it annually. We're trying to figure out, do we need to try and assign months and birth months and all this stuff. And so this process is finally coming together. I know it's been a long time coming. So that will clean up several issues that have been lingering in the background. The office, as Jason's going to talk about, has been a little busy with some CON stuff. So that's taken up a fair amount of bandwidth and storage space. And we already talked about the updates to Google.
Anything for Ben? Our host, Karen.
The only thing I have is that Livingston County found out a couple of weeks ago that we've been awarded another state interoperability communications grant for $3.5 million. That'll be on top of the $6 million grant we got for round 3. So we're continuing to move toward upgrading our system. That's it.
Very good. Anything for Karen? Tim?
We had our airport drill, which is a every 3-year requirement by the FAA last Friday. So we had 76 total victims. It was held over at the Public Safety Training Center, and one of the fuselages was there because they couldn't get a participating airline that wanted to be on the news showing a plane crash. In October, there's a Western Regional drill. It's called RECIT. It's similar to Flurricane that was done a couple of years ago. RECIT stands for Western Regional Emergency Communication Knowledge and Information Test. A component for the EMS in Monroe County will be testing the ChemPack distributions to hospitals and the EMS. Doesn't require any EMS involvement. We're going to actually have the kits brought out from the hospitals that are contained in and transported to the PSTF, and just time that process, see how quickly it moves. Monroe County Crime Labs, on a regular basis, they test samples of drugs they're taking off the streets, and they're finding out what else is in them, because, the percentage of fentanyl in the heroin and stuff like that. So they're going to schedule 2 classes, one during the day and one during the evening, to present to EMS and other first responders, fire and police. Finger Lakes Participating Provider Network, it's 13 counties. We presented that at the Monroe County EMS Advisory Board and DOs. We had the leaders come out and present to that. Reg is now going to be part of, or is part of, the ED triage team. If anyone wants any more information, let me know. And Strong sort of has a biocontainment room, their Ebola room, was out of service for a couple weeks by the way they refurbed it. We didn't bother telling anybody because we didn't think it would matter, but they're back up and running as of today. That's it from Monroe County.
But now we don't have to ask people about travel anymore, right?
What's that?
Isn't that as of today that you don't have to ask about travel anymore? Isn't that?
DOH
It's
hasn't
not been
stopped
officially
that, it's
noticed.
TSA that stopped that, correct?
We've not been notified by state DOH or the CDC.
Disregard.
No, I would have just told Tom or Tom that, hey, you gotta take him to Buffalo. But no, it's
The
not
airport,
there.
they'll
Goes
clear
back
the
on
airport.
planes, goes back to like.
Back it up like a flag.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if we're related to Ebola, we could get some cappers in through some Department of Health grant funding. We'll be getting some cases to put those in and then storing them with the Ebola transport units.
All right, anything else for Tim?
Of the drill bit.
A lot of participation by EMS, so thank everyone who participated. Sending ambulances and resources to the drill. A lot of EMS help.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good comments from that.
Especially inside that fuselage like that. I don't know, I was in a windowless, air-conditioned room.
Perfect. Dr. Murray?
I was gonna say, most of my thunder was stolen, but that's okay, no problem, I don't mind. What?
Jeremy.
No, I got some stuff. Yeah, we really, thank you to Eric, the training and ed and the SAT committees have been doing a ton of work, and so thank you very much to them for doing that. You heard about spinal mobilization, I think that's gonna be great, and then we will move our January meeting to be the same day as
Dr. Murray, and our remake? Not that you guys still haven't met, right? It's December?
Yep, the September meeting for the state was canceled. The next meeting will be in December. Nothing coming from the state at this point.
Just a lot.
All right. We
It's a
met
small
on.
font there, my friend.
Well, I know y'all read it beforehand, so that's why I didn't make it bigger.
Yeah. We met on August 25th. There was 4 of us that showed up. We discussed the mutual aid 1206 forms just because they're not getting in. We've only got them from a couple of agencies so far. So we're looking at ways that maybe we can help facilitate getting that information from the agencies so that it can be reviewed and approved appropriately. So we did have that. Henrietta CON expansion into Rush, that was received, it's been sent out to the lawyer for review. The transfer of rural metro CON to MR, the F&C is being done by the state, but prior to that, we do have to vote to just make sure that we accept the application as from the letter that we got from the state. So we will have to vote on that just to, as a body, say that yes, it is complete and it can go forward to the state for F&C. Other than that, I reached out to Pinsky regarding Colorel's TOA. Have not heard anything back from them, so we're not sure of the status of that. And then the Pittsburgh East Rochester CON, that there was some debate about whether they actually had a valid CON to transfer. We sent that out to the state. We got an opinion statement back. At this time, they don't have a valid CON. They didn't have a valid CON. They should have got one to begin with. And theirs expired on August 31st of this year anyway, and they didn't renew that or take any steps to renew it. So at this time, there is nothing to transfer, so there's no need to hold a vote tonight on that transfer.
All those documents were sent out with the agenda, so does anybody need to see those? Pretty clear. Like the state, we didn't mince any words. They didn't have a CON, there was nothing for us to do.
Ben was kind enough to lug the 2 Tupperware cases down with those.
So So what Jason was saying, so when I had to explain all of this to us at this time last year when we did the rural metro transfer, the state did everything. They just said, regions, we understand they practice in multiple regions, you don't have to do anything. Somehow they decided that whatever process they used last year was not okay this year. I think because it didn't fall in line with their policy statement. So that's why we're voting, even though we didn't vote for the exact same thing a year ago. It's just a point of order.
Just a question. Last year's transfer, that was after the merger had been approved by the FTC? My question is that if the merger's not been approved yet, and they're transferring over, what happens in that small chance that it doesn't, the merger isn't approved?
I'd say that when it comes back from Fitness and Thompson, we still have to vote on it. I'd say there wouldn't be anything to vote on.
I'm just curious.
Kind of thing.
It was done before, and now it's kind of not.
Additional information on it.
I'll give you the thinking behind my colleagues in Albany. And that was, we weren't gonna hold up a process to wait on the feds. You think the state's slow? So, I mean, obviously, us voting or any council voting on that transfer, they're voting based on our statute, our regulation. You know, that's not, if the feds are gonna override something, then so be it, but we shouldn't be holding up our processes in the meantime. You know, obviously they need to wait for FTC to do it. The corporations need to wait for the FTC to finish their side of the dance, but if this is all done in the meantime, then the green light comes from FTC that they can do it. Whether you approve the transfer or not, well, I mean, I'm just saying that it doesn't, you know, we shouldn't be holding that up, and that's the thinking of all. We should be holding our process up for somebody else's. You know, the applications were sent in, we voted, timely, and all that good stuff, I should be sitting on.
So they're looking for a vote at this meeting? Is that what they're looking for?
Yes. Yep.
Votes just for completion.
Just for, that the application is complete.
And it does have to be a roll call vote for their correspondence.
Is it complete? I mean, can we get it out and go through it page by page?
I wasn't sure if Mark was on the sheet. Does any do it or do you? Sorry, I'm going to grab that one.
You can do it. I've heard you read.
We were gonna do another one in a little while.
I don't know.
No, just rural metro transfers to Vermont.
So this is.
I don't remember. I read the communication from the state. It's complete? The application's complete. Is that what they're saying?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a seconded motion from committee for the application complete for the municipality.
Yes.
Reg Allen.
Wait, sorry, point of order. Number one, if we can state the motion loud enough so that it can be heard by the transcriptionist, and then go through it, and actually, Robert's Rules does not allow a seconded motion or something like this. So it is just a motion before, it's just a regular motion before. Yeah, or Sturgis, it's the same thing.
The motion is to accept the rural metro CON transfer as, application as complete, to be forwarded to New York State for obviously.
I'd amend that motion because we are accepting the rural metro CON transfer to actually. I don't even think it's vision. Envision, seriously, guys, you need to pull out the language so that we get this right, so that it doesn't get screwed up on
Here, you want
it.
it?
Yeah. If you want to check. Drop that.
Well, it's a formality, we need to make sure that the formality is using the right terminology.
Can you just hand this to Jason? It has the exact language.
From the CON committee, that we accept the transfer of the CON application from rural metro to Envision Healthcare Incorporated for forwarding to the New York State Department of Health for FNC.
Quite different than what you said first, which was we were voting on the completeness of the application.
Then I said it. The completeness of the application.
And must be in trouble doing anything.
This is the application, right, for the certificate of need transfer.
Is that
We're voting on the completeness of the application.
completeness of the
Certificate of
application?
need
Yes.
transfer. I'm sorry, it's hard to hear up here because the fan's running and I want to make sure. Thanks.
And that was seconded by Frost.
Any other discussion? Okay, go ahead with the vote.
Reg Allen,
Aye.
Bill Arnold,
Yes.
Donna Bailey, Thomas Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Jason Bortle,
Yes.
Alex Cook, Thomas Coyle,
Yes.
Deb Kern,
Yes.
Jeremy Cushman,
Yes.
Tim Sopransky,
Yes.
Karen Dewar,
Yes.
Tim Frost, yes. George Glessner,
Yes.
Mike Hoskins, Julie Jordan,
Yes.
Ronald Kirchhoff,
Yes.
Tom Kirchhoff, Gordy Kluber,
Yes.
Elizabeth Murray,
Yes.
Bill Palma,
Yes.
Mark Philippi,
Aye.
Eric Rathfelder,
Yes.
Gwen Williams,
Yes.
Aaron Horowitz,
Yes.
and Nick Nolte. Motion passes.
So I couldn't hear you, Tim.
Motion passes. Sorry.
All right. Anything else we need to, for systems out? All right. Anything for Jason? All right. Mark?
Okay, good afternoon. So, 3rd Battalion Transport Agency, we did have an applicant some time ago who has not been heard from since, so that seat is still open. I plan to meet with the 3rd Battalion coordinators meeting on Wednesday at noon, try and drum up some interest on 3rd and 4th Battalion Transport Agency so that we can get that seat filled. There's still a healthcare representative / EMS physician seat open at this point, and considering we are still trying to get physicians to fill REMAX seats, I'm not sure what we can do to get that going, but George and I have had some discussion as the rest of the committee as well about reaching out to the hospital systems, CEOs, and command staff, if you will, to try and get some physician interest in these seats. There is still a Livingston County Transport Agency seat open, Karen is aware of. At REMAC, 2 at-large physician seats and 1 BLS representative seat, non-voting seat are open at REMAC. There are seats up for reelection and reappointment coming up at the November meeting. Because we have gotten rid of the December meeting in the interest of sanity, we are going to announce at this time opening nominations for seats in the election for officers in November, and also for the seats that are currently open, as well as 2 healthcare provider seats that are currently, healthcare representative seats that are currently open as of this time. One currently being filled by Mr. Glusner, and one being filled by Ms. Williams. Those 2 seats are up for reappointment, reelection this year. In addition, there will be some REMAC seats that Mr. Frost has already alluded to need to be hashed out as to the correct term dates, and we will have that for you by the November meeting. But this is a formal announcement of letters of intent need to be to the Nominations, Elections, and Governance Committee no less than 10 working days prior to the November meeting. We will also elect officers at that meeting. Therefore, if you are intending to run for office and you're intending to be elected to council, we need to have both letters of intent, the officer letter, as well as your intent to become a member of council prior to that meeting. There will be some discussion to NEG about trying to clarify some of the language with regard to letters of intent. That has caused us no end of consternation over the last year. Certainly nothing we intended, it's just the process. So we're going to be looking at that as well. Code of Conduct and Ethics document is in its final stages. We had intended to present it to council for vote at this meeting, but there were some last minute and well thought out additions to it that we need to investigate. Most importantly, who in particular will be doing fraud investigations if an allegation of fraud is made. That needs to be hashed out as to what agency has jurisdiction and purview. Also, we've been asked to include in that document something specifically addressing intellectual properties of the council and also confidentiality of council documents. Since we don't have anything like that on the books, it was felt, and kudos to Mr. Hoskins and his group for bringing this up, Mr. Frost as well, that we need to have some language that specifies the confidentiality of council business documents. So that will be included in this as well. Matter for vote at this meeting, 2 items. Item number 1, simple. Dr. Aramuto has been very patient with us. We've tried to get her candidacy for a REMAC seat squared away as Rochester General Hospital representative. At this time, I offer Dr. Aramuto as the RGH, Rochester General Hospital physician representative to REMAC. And there are no other candidates for that seat. Obviously, this is more of just a ratification. So I would ask for a motion to accept a single vote by the secretary for Dr. Aramuto. Mr. Arnold, Ms. Curran, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstained? For Mr. Frost, Dr. Bureau will now be a member of REMAC. And then the final matter is we'll need to have a roll call vote for the acceptance of our bylaws change. It was announced at the last meeting in accordance with the bylaws. It's been documented and just distributed as change to the section on attendance, most particularly and in brief, that the attendance requirement is going to remain. However, there are excuses accepted that will be taken into consideration, and that those excuses must be communicated to the secretary or the chair directly. I will send a copy of the final verbiage to anyone who would like to see it if they have not seen it in prior correspondence. And then I would ask for a motion to approve and the voice vote to the amendment to our bylaws. Mr. Arnold, Dr. Murray. Okay. And we need to vote to approve the vote. Not bad. That's a good question. I don't think so. I think we can we got a motion, so we just vote on the motion. So, roll call vote.
Fred Allen.
Aye.
Bill Arnold. Aye. Donna Bailey. Thomas Bonfiglio.
Yes.
Jason Bortle.
Yes.
Alex Cook. Thomas Coyle,
Yes.
Deb Curran,
Yes.
Jeremy Cushman,
Yes.
Tim Spransky,
Yes.
Karen Dewar,
Yes.
Tim Frost, yes. George Glessner,
Yes.
Mike Hoskins, Julie Jordan,
Yes.
Ronald Kirchhoff,
Yes.
Tom Kirchhoff, Gordy Kluber,
Yes.
Elizabeth Murray,
Yes.
Bill Palma,
Yes.
Mark Philippi,
Aye.
Eric Rathfelder,
Yes.
Gwen Williams,
Yes.
Aaron Horowitz,
Yes.
Nick Nolte. Motion passes.
Thank you. The bylaws have been amended. The only other matter that's coming up for discussion is the hospital representatives change in the REMAC bylaws. It's an unintended and unforeseen complication of the REMAC bylaws that we referred back to the council bylaws with regard to needing a letter of intent. That is kind of obviated by the physicians who are appointed by their hospital systems. And there's really little need for the actual physician to send us a letter, because we have a letter from us. So we're going to be crafting a amendment to the REMAC bylaws, which I will bring to the membership at the November meeting. This is notice that that amendment is pending and will be distributed to the council members tomorrow at the first evening. We have the next meeting is October 13th by GoToMeeting, and that is it.
One question, Tim.
Earlier you referenced 5 working days to get your name in if you were interested in
Did I
this
say
position.
5? I'm
Yeah, you said working in an EMS, you know, it's not business days, so
Yeah.
I assume you meant business days.
It is 10 working business days.
10 business days, okay.
So that's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Gotcha.
Thank you, yes. That has also caused us no end of consternation, that wording, but yes.
Anything else for Mark? Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mark. Donna may still be in Triage Strong. She hasn't texted me, so. This was her report, at least her bullets, and I know they're working on the award application process. They're trying to get as many awards for the annual Mlrems Awards as possible, so that we capture all the good work that's going on in the region. And the first one is there's obviously community CPR page on the Mlrems.org for anybody that needs to reference or point somebody towards looking for CPR. Eric?
You guys keep telling me how hard we're working, it doesn't really look like it. And I just need to tell you that everyone on the committee is working hard. I'm just reporting to you guys. So basically, and this is kind of falling apart, I mean, there was a big problem in the region, I think, with CIUs to keep our CLIs and CICs certified. And it seemed like nothing had changed for years, and then all of a sudden, when we were coming up with a way to change it, I heard from the state that regional faculty is changing, and then the AHA is coming out with their updates in October. So like all of a sudden, everything changed as soon as we had like a good plan on how to address this. In short, though, we're going to host a CIU. The training centers in the region have been really helpful in agreeing to help pay for the CIU and host it. So Aaron and Nicole at MCC, Henrietta, and I still have to talk to Metro, and Karen, I know you've been included in those things, and everyone's been really awesome at saying, yes, we see a need for this, and it will help us as training centers, and let us take it away from, let us handle the funding sort of regionally, so that we're not having CIUs and not having trained CLIs simply for a silly paperwork and several hundred or $1,000 from the state that might or may not be getting reimbursed. So basically what we come up with is that the training centers are going to pay and host, and then we have one and maybe change it from being a summer weekend to being 2 evenings in the fall. The regional faculty, all the regional faculty were on board with this and agreed to a rate a universal pay rate for us to charge, and for them to charge and us to pay them. And so we're planning on having one. It was gonna be October or November, but we wanna wait now because the AHA, I'll probably give you more information you guys need to know. But anyway, we're gonna wait till the AHA updates come out in October, because we may be able to use that as half of the, or some number of hours of the CIU, and therefore make it a very short CIU to make up the rest of it for many of the CLIs who are already gonna be doing the AHA updates. So now we're probably looking at maybe December or January. So more to follow on that, and things may be changing, I guess, next year, possibly on how the state does it. And so we'll kind of wait and see, and if that changes, we'll roll with that. And if it doesn't, then we'll plan on every fall trying to host our own CIU with the assistance of regional faculty and the training centers in our region, and therefore not have to worry about whether the state's going to pay us for it. So I don't know what that is. Stay tuned for December or January CIU for your CLIs and CICs, and therefore hopefully they won't be dropping out. And then we're still working on, well, we're gonna get started wholeheartedly working on the BLS preceptor program. I think we originally said we wanted to have something together by the spring of 2016, and I think we're on a good pace to do that. And just, again, to allay some people's concerns, this is a totally voluntary program by agencies. It's just, agencies can choose to participate or not. We're trying to be helpful, not put another burden on agencies. For next year, I think we'll have those things kind of cleaned up. So if you have projects for us, please let me know, because most of our projects after those two have wound down. There's just some maintenance on some of the projects. So if you have other big things or stuff we can do, let us know. We're not sitting around twiddling our thumbs. All right, sorry, I didn't need to explain all that probably, but now you know what I know, so that's all I got.
Felt good.
For one, I really appreciate hearing that information, because it does set a real good context for what you're going through and what's coming up. So
No, thanks.
Anything else for Eric? All right, thank you. Do we have any new business? All right. Our next meeting is November 16th at the Monroe County. That's our elections, and just a reminder about the January 15th meeting. Motion for
motion adjourned.
Bill, Arnold, second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?